Hi, this is John Han, and the pulsing cinema movie of the day is The Fan, a German film from 1982. Now, there are a few movies with that title, The Fan. There was a 1981 American film with Anne Bancroft and Michael Biehn. And then there was a 1996 film, Tony Scott, with Wesley Snipes and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro played this the crazed baseball fan. Snipes was a ball player. This film is set in early 80s Germany, and the fan of this film is a young teenager, a young girl played by Desiree Nosbusch, who was at that point a relatively, I think, famous German television celebrity. There's video on her online of her hosting the 1984 Eurovision singing competition, and she hosted shows on television. I think even at this age. But she plays a deranged fan who is stalking this German new wave pop singer who only goes by the name R, the letter R. That's his name. I think we find out later on his actual real name is something like Robert Roos or something. But he is the enigmatic pop star R who sings these gloomy new wave pop songs while he's sitting. He stands motionless and the camera stares at him, and he has this emotionless kind of face. If you think Falco is like way too exciting, okay, you got to go this guy. This film, if you're into German new wave plink 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 electronic plinky plunky music, this is definitely the movie for you. And the music is by Rheingold. Another R. Rheingold, who was a new wave German synth pop band. And the guy who plays R in the film, Bodo Steiger, was the lead singer for Rheingold. So it's basically his music in the film. So, and in Germany at this point in the early 80s, there were a lot of films about disaffected young German youth. There was that film Christian F., which had the music by David Bowie in it. And then there was another movie, I think it was from an Italian filmmaker, but it was like Hannah K., the girl from Vondel Park, which was like an exploitation ripoff of Christian F., because Christian F. was like the art film. It's about, I think about young German kids shooting up dope, listening to like David Bowie music and electronic music, and so it's like a, it's that early 80s type of German new wave synth pop, scene. So anyway, getting back to the plot of this film, Desiree is obsessed with this pop singer, writes him letters, feels that she is this guy's soulmate, and she runs away to Munich in order to meet him, and then the rest of the film plays out in a rather extraordinary fashion. The film has a rather shocking climax, which I'm not going to spoil. I'm the king of spoilers, but this is a payoff, man. This is a good film. This is just a film with a laser focus on this Desiree and her obsession with this guy who is, the cliche of the early 80s dopey electronic pop star singer, gloomy new wave, doom wave, whatever. Like, imagine like the film. It almost feels like, okay, you're Saturday Night Live. You're like the writers for Saturday Night Live, and you want to make something that's a little bit less ludicrous than Sprockets. Okay, this is what this would be. It's just slightly less ludicrous. I mean, it's just very dated. But again, the music, the plinky plunky music, really reminded me of the music for Tales from the Quad Dead Zone, that Chester Turner film. Down, down, like the music, which was like slightly more advanced than I think Black Devil Doll. I mean, it's like that type of really basic analog synth stuff, Autobahn, all of this stuff. If you love that, then this movie's got Rheingold in it. It's got that German new wave, real German new wave dude in it. Directed by, I believe his name's Eckhard Schmidt, based on a short story I think that he also wrote, or maybe that he'd found. The idea that he had behind this film was that being a pop star, you're sometimes almost kind of a slave to your audience. That it's a lot of the time it feels like you have this crowd, this audience, and you've got the one pop star who is up on the pedestal. But that relationship can sometimes become blurred, and oftentimes that pop star is almost kind of in his own type of slavery. He's in bondage to the fan in this case. And so there's some real, again, it's German film kind of. So it's a horror film. It's a crazed stalker film. It's an obsession film, but it has that early 80s German vibe, and because it's a foreign film in German language, it has that kind of art house vibe to it. Beautiful cinematography, beautiful editing. I mean, just a really beautiful film. I can't really describe anything near it, close to it. The film Angst, about a serial killer which has some really, I think that's also a German film or a Bavarian film or a Austrian film, about a serial killer, and just basically a day in the life, or a couple days in the life of a serial killer stalking a victim, a home invasion type thing. That to me, they would make a good double, and I think some people have tried to make a double feature of The Fan and Angst. It doesn't have all of the bravura camera work of Angst, because Angst was shot by Zbigniew Rybinski, who was flying cameras on wires and on friggin' he's got cameras like upside down on mirrors shooting things and all kinds of, incredible film, a lesson in trick camera work. That's what Angst is, but this is definitely more of a drama, but I don't know. I see a kinship between these two films, between Angst and The Fan. Angst, which is another German horror film, and this one not so much of a horror film, but there is a horrific stalker, creepy element to it. Just released on Blu-ray in the U.S. from Mondo Macabro, their new Blu-ray release. I didn't watch that. I was able to find an old Powell DVD from Marketing Film. I guess it's not too old. The film's just kind of come out recently, and been released in multiple countries. I think there's a UK DVD. There's a German DVD from Marketing Film is what I had. Now it's coming out in the U.S. And I think earlier on VHS it was released as Trance. And I don't know if it ever really got a U.S. video release. But, yeah, definitely if you like films about obsessed fans, films with German new wave, synth pop, and Desiree Nolsbush, who gives an incredible performance, but I gotta mention that you really feel her obsession, and then okay, little mini spoiler, she meets R, and then her reaction to it, and her subtle non-verbal, it's just really like such a nuanced performance for such a young actor to give, that. This is a young woman, a young teen, barely out of being a child actor, in her probably, I don't know how old she was, maybe her late teens, early 20s in this film. but probably early 20s, because there is some nudity. And that became a big controversy. Desiree tried to sue to get this film from not being shown because there was some objections over nudity. I think what happened, well, I've read some stories online that I think actually the director actually wrote a book about this, that her manager released some photos that were taken on the set of a nude scene, and they got out for publicity, and then, so I don't know if what was going on with this lawsuit, but the film became kind of a controversial film because it starred this German young television performer who had these nude scenes, and then also I think the German New Wave with Rheingold, and so I think the film made a bit of a fracas, made a bit of a noise when it was released in the early 80s, but I don't really think it got out outside of Germany. But now we can see it. We can see the grandeur that is this film. The Fan. Hopefully someday Angst will come out on US DVD as well. Barrel Entertainment for years was the guys that released Last House on Dead End Street. We're going to release Angst. I want to see that. I want to see that. I think it's out on Blu-ray in Europe in a non-English friendly release. But I want to see that. Angst and The Fan. Great film. The Fan. Superb film. Superbly shot. Beautiful lead performance, and an R. So what do you want? Great.